Good morning, friends. Myself Kedar Badheka. Today I'm taking a lecture of industrial engineering, which is the sixth lecture of our series. And the topic of today's lecture is ISO 14000, right? So we start with the basic introductions about the ISO 14000. So in the previous lecture, we study ISO 9000 or ISO 9001 and different clauses of the ISO 9000, right? So basically, ISO 9000 is stands for the quality improvement, while ISO 14000 is for the environmental management system or the environmental changes. In a very easy way, we can say that the one ISO 9000, which is stands for the quality systems, right? We can improve our product quality or our process quality by following some kind of the quality clauses, while in ISO 14000s we can with following the guidelines regarding the environment management system, we can make the surrounding environment which is very beneficial for the product and employees betterment. So ISO 14000 is a series of the 21 related auditable international standards and supplementary guidelines. So any organizations can apply to an hin, to for his organizations for the environment management system. So ISO 14000, which is first established in 1996, and then it is furtherly updated at the periodic time, and this update is shared by the international standard organizations. So with through these standards, any firm or any organizations can manage manage the impact of its product, goods or service, and the processes on the quality of the environments, right? So this is the basic about the ISO 14000. So this ISO 14000 series is divided into the two separate aspect of the two separate ways. The first, which is the organizational evaluation standards, and second, which is the product evaluation standards. So we can study these two different standard aspect in detail. So ISO, basically ISO 14000 is stands for the environmental management system, right, which is furtherly developed as ISO 14001, which is help for or which can guide in the form of that they have a system specifications and a core elements regarding the standards, right? So the another two aspect, which is previously we have named that the uh, organization evaluation standards and product evaluation standard. In organizations evaluation standards, they have a detailed guidelines about, they have the some kind of the series of numbers, which is the 14010 to 12, which is help this guideline, that is help regarding environmental auditing, right? And another 14031, which is help for the environmental the performance. So this two guideline aspect for the organizational evaluation standards, right? The another way or the other sides, the different aspect, which is the product evaluation aspect. In a product evaluation aspect, the 14020 to 14024, this aspect which is regarding the environmental leveling, right? Environmental labeling, or another aspect, guideline aspect, which is the 14041 to 44, which is help for the life cycle assessment. So this is the detailed structures of the ISO 14000. So now after this discussions, we have to understand about the uh, clauses structures of the ISO 14000. in the ISO 14000 they have a 10 clauses structure or 10 subsidiary core elements of the ISO 14000. So the first three have very basic informations about the first structure. In the first structure they have the scopes of 14000s. In the second segment they have the normatives references. In the third section they have the terms and definitions regarding the environmental system and environmental management system from the clauses structure clauses 4, which is the context of the organizations. What is the basic context of the organizations regarding the environment? They have a different 5 sub clauses, right, which will be discussed later. Then the fifth, which is regarding the leaderships. What is the leadership aspect about the environments? Then what you are planning as a top management, as an employee, as a workforce, for the environmental hazardous betterments, right? How to control this hazardous which is produced from your product manufacturing. Then supports 8, which is regarding the operations. What kind of the operations are the organizations are arranging for to control the uh, control for creating the hazardous content. Ninth, which is regarding the performance evaluations. After all the precautions are taken, you have to some kind of the evaluations whether it is work as per the plan or not. And last, which is the improvement. And if you require any kind of the improvement, so you have to improve in your previous clauses and you have to maintain your work regarding this, right? So this is the basic core structures of the ISO 14000. So we have to furtherly more focus on the clauses structure number 4 to 10. So we will discuss in the detail in the further discussions. So this clauses number 4, clauses structure number 4 to 10, which is easily understands with the help of the PDCA cycle. PDCA cycle, which stands for the plan, do, check and actions, right? So the clauses structure number 4, which is regarding the context of the organizations, right? They have the 4 different sub clauses. The sub clauses 1, which is stands for the understanding the organizations and its context. First you have to understand what is the organization's context about the what is the organization's understanding about the environment EMS systems, right? Second, which is the understanding the needs and expectations of the interested parties, your supporting bodies or as an organization. What is the need and expectations from the different kind of the bodies? One is just example as a government body. Then the third clauses, which is regarding the determining the scope of the EMS. In your organizations you have to find the scope for the environmental management system. And fourth, which is regarding the environmental management system, based on the scope you have to finalize the environmental management system. So this is the regarding the context of the organizations. You have to think as per the context of the organizations, right? Fifth, which is regarding the leaderships. What is the role of the leaders, right? So the leaderships and its commitments regarding the environments. Second, which is regarding the environmental policy. Third, which is the organization's role and responsibilities and authorities, what they threes are doing, right? Leaderships and commitments regarding environmental policy. The top management and leaderships have to make the environmental policies, and they have the organization's role. What is the role of the organizations and responsibility for the authorities as an authority, prime authority. The sixth, structure, closest structure which is regarding the planning. So they have to plan regarding the two parameters. First, which is the actions to address risk associated with the threats and opportunities, and second, the environmental objectives and planning to achieve them. They have to plan regarding environmental objectives. They have to plan regarding the environmental objectives, and they have to work towards that, how to achieve these objectives. So they have to primarily focus on this aspect. And then seventh aspect, which is the support from resources, support from the competence, awareness, communications, and documented informations. So these five pillars which is regarding the support. So all four parameters which is under the plan. Now what do they have the operations? Clauses number 8, operational plannings and control, and second, which is the emergency preparations and responses. So they have to, based on the planning, now we done the planning, so we have to kindly take some kind of the actions which is regarding the operational plannings, what we have previously plannings and what we have to control. So now this stage is the implementation stage. So next stage which is regarding is actually checking whether we are doing is right or wrong. So in the check, that is the performance evaluations, right? As a students, at every 6 months we are doing your uh, evaluations of the different subject. In the form of that, you are getting a enough knowledge of the subject is not, right? So in this performance evaluations, monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluations, these are the four parameters. Second, which is the internal audits and management's reviews. In three different segments, the evaluations of our policies, of our implementations are checked in the three different way, with the monitoring, with the measurements, and with the analysis, from the internal audits or from the management's review regarding this. And last, which is the act, which is the actions for the improvements. If we are finding some kind of the loopholes in the previous any kind of the clauses, we have to correct it, and we have to reshuffle that parameters, or we have to correct at the positions, and we have to furtherly proceed in a correct way. So in actions, which is the general, then non conformities and the corrective actions, and third, which is the continual improvements, because this process which is the continual process, we have to. So this is the plan do check is PDCA cycle, which is the continuous cycles, and we have to constantly monitors it or constantly follow it. So because this is the, which is the daily based system, it is not for the one day implementations. We have to maintain for the year wise planning, right? In a way of the year wise planning. So this is the basics about the ISO 14000, on which will help you to study in a depth about the ISO 14000. So basically ISO 14000 is stands for the environments management system, how the organization is take your surrounding environment is seriously, and whether your product is affecting the environments, whether your process is affecting environments, and what kind of this actions you are taking to control these environments in a certain period of time. So this is about the ISO 14000s. And international standards organizations and the different kinds of the different countries agencies are working on these standards, and we can audit by its the in an internal way, or we can audit by the external agencies also, and which is helps to uh, create a better industrial atmospheres around the hours, right? So this lecture is about ISO 14000. If you have any kind of the queries, any kind of the questions, you can ask me in the comment sections. Thank you so much for watching